Hey everybody, hey all eyes, how's it going? Happy Halloween. So I thought tonight I would go back over this interview with, well, let's see. Can you hear me okay? Is everything working okay? Um, I was going to go back over this interview with Lauren Matthias from Hidden True Crime and Sarah Grace Patrick's aunt, um, her maybe cousin by marriage. Um, so do a little rewatch of this and see all the lies and all the bullcrap and yeah, just kind of break it down and see what's going on with it. So um, once I know if you guys can hear me okay, then I will get going. And then we're gonna watch this episode and see if we can spot all the lies.
The niece of James Brock, also known as Jamie Brock. Jamie and his wife, Kristen, not to be mistaken with this Kristen, the Brocks, who were married, were murdered on February 20th. And since
Thanks,
that
allies.
time, earlier this month, Kristen's daughter, James's stepdaughter, was arrested, Sarah Grace Patrick, for murdering the couple while they slept. Investigators say there's a mountain of evidence. Sarah Grace's family has spoken out, and her grandfather says she's innocent, doesn't believe that she did this, after crying in a eulogy, after going on TikTok.
Crying in a eulogy. How could she? How could she?
Top
Thanks, Kylie.
sobbing and saying that she misses her mother. Her family is now saying she is innocent. But now here, for the first time ever, I have someone from James's side of the family to share their version of what they believe happened, speaking out for the first time. And Kristen, I know you are nervous. I know you have notes. I know you have important things to say today. And so I want you to know right now that this interview is for you and for your family, to share what you want to share, to have your voices heard for the first time. And for those that are just learning about this case, we have an entire backstory here at Hidden True Crime that will be linked in the description of this episode, as well as in comments.
Probably also full of lies.
Here on YouTube. And so, Kristen, first off, let's just start from, I think I have one main question.
Also, this family only knows one angle, and it's like this. They're constantly filming like this. I don't know why.
For you, because of recent interviews with Sarah's side of the family. Do you believe that Sarah is innocent?
No, I do not.
Do you believe that Sarah killed your uncle and his wife, Kristen?
I do. Yes.
Okay. Why do you think that?
It pretty much from the beginning, honestly.
She didn't ask when, she asked why.
I think anybody that hears that she didn't hear gunshots, I think that it's been put out here recently that the house was unusual and the rooms weren't that close, but that's not true. The rooms were very close.
You're not answering the question. You think that she killed her uncle because the rooms were very close? That doesn't even make any sense.
The house was small. The bedrooms were all located in one area of the home. And I mean, of course, I'm not out there with a measuring tape, but if I were to guess, between the doorway of Jamie and Kristen's room and Sarah's room, maybe 8 feet.
Okay. And not only gunshots, but also the heart monitor that woke up their little girl, 5-year-old girl, Jaylee.
Right.
Do you believe that was going off for how long?
Hours. Had to have been. But it's came out and it's public now that Jaylee not only heard the heart monitor, she heard the gunshots. And her room is next door to Sarah's.
So why didn't she wake up Sarah and tell her? Like, I don't understand that part.
So Jaylee heard the gunshots too?
Yes.
Can you confirm just how many gunshots or wounds there were? Because we have heard mixed.
Right. I can confirm exactly, but multiple. I mean, more than 2 or 3. I mean, So you combine the gunshots and the LVAD monitor going off. I mean, that's a lot of noise for a house that's small and the bedrooms are close together.
Right. And so, in other words, she allowed. So if this is true, and she is guilty of doing this, she allowed her sister, Jaylee, her half sister, 5 years old, to go and discover the crime scene.
That's right.
What does the public need to know about Sarah Grace Patrick that we're not hearing? Because again, we're hearing now that she's not who the media has painted, and that she is traumatized by losing her mother, and that she has cried and given a eulogy.
Yeah, it gets real bad. All eyes, it gets real bad.
What do we need to understand about Sarah?
I think we can start with the eulogy. It's public knowledge now that the investigators.
And just because she's saying stuff is public knowledge doesn't mean it has any basis in fact. I
immediately thought it was a red flag that she said "I'm sorry" at the end of her eulogy. That video has.
And why would the investigators tell her that they thought it was a red flag that she said "I'm sorry" at the end of the eulogy?
It's been out since, I'm pretty sure, the day after the funeral. Her dad posted it. It's been public this entire time. But what people don't know is that after she got done and the funeral was over, she went one by one to everybody in my family, everybody that knew James, and also hugged us and said she was sorry. Which is an odd thing to say when your mother was murdered, you know?
Is it though? Is saying "I'm sorry" and that weird of a thing to say? Like, if you see somebody that's sad, you say, I'm sorry. You feel that way.
We don't know exactly what she meant by that, so I'm not going to say that I do. But if it's weird that she said "I'm sorry" in the eulogy, it's very weird that she went around and said that she was sorry to people who lost, and we did. We lost an uncle and a brother and a friend, but she lost her mother. We were sorry.
That is interesting, because an investigator has stated, people have pointed out that at the end of her eulogy, Sarah said sorry, but some people thought that meant sorry she was crying. But you're saying that the sorries continued after the eulogy.
Absolutely.
Oh no, not the sorries continuing after the eulogy. It's a red flag that this woman is clinging. Yes, such baseless bullshit. And it's literally all baseless bullshit. And Lauren Mathias gave her a platform for it. It's just wild.
It's too many people.
Not only did the sorries continue on the day of the funeral, the sorries continued to my mom in particular, and I can speak for my mom. That's why I'm here, is to speak on behalf of our family. You might see my face, but this is from everyone. Okay. But she continued to call and text my mom for 5 months, multiple times a week, to tell her that she was sorry that Jamie was dead, and she was sorry that she lost her brother. And I mean, she manipulated and lied to my mom, and
I don't understand. Sarah expressed her condolences. What a monster. I know. It's like this lady's mom, her name is Kim, and she was really, really sad about this whole thing, and like really upset. She's still really upset, posting, like stuff about wanting to unalive herself and all that. And like, I can see why, anytime you talk to her, you want to say "I'm sorry," like she's just a sad woman, like she's sad about this. Doesn't mean Sarah did it though. Like,
torture her for 5 months.
Did you suspect her? Did any of your side of the family suspect Sarah Grace as being responsible for this, or did your mother, James's sister, believe her?
Nobody believed her.
Really?
I don't know anybody that believed her.
So it's confirmation bias is what you're saying. Also, a little later, we're going to have Heidi join us, and she talked to Sarah earlier today. So we'll see what she has to say. And she's been talking to Sarah's dad.
And I can't speak for her family. And I won't say names because it is an ongoing investigation. But I can say that multiple members of her family told my mother that Sarah was involved.
And so what?
And I wonder who that was. Like, let's see some receipts. Start saying some.
What does that
names.
look like when you say involved? Was she acting on her own? Did she pull the trigger? Was this a conspiracy? What do you think happened?
The theories, I don't think any of us have a solid theory. I mean, maybe now.
We have no idea what happened. We just know she did it. It just got to be her. That's all we know.
But then we didn't think it was possible that she acted alone. And I still don't know that she did, because it just seems odd that she would be the one to pull the trigger.
Yeah, I think it's odd too. I think it's really odd.
No gun found in the house.
No.
Nope, no gun found.
Yeah, and Jamie and Kristen didn't own a gun. Is that correct?
They did not own a gun. If there was a gun in that house, that would be shocking to me.
Yeah. What kind of person was Sarah Grayson that you guys would suspect her? Because we've heard that she was smart, that she was going to go to college and graduate high school and make her family proud, that she was beautiful,
She did graduate high school. She graduated high school early, actually.
that she had her life put together. Are we not seeing the same?
Also, you know, I'm not for sure saying she's innocent, but I'm just saying, like, her name got thrown out there by these ladies, in my opinion, before. I really I really don't know for sure what the hell, but I know from the facts that I've seen, like she just said, they've suspected her from the beginning, and I just think, and some of the shit I've been hearing, I just feel so sorry for this girl, because her dad is also not in the greatest headspace at all. So I just want, there's nobody there for her at all. It's Heidi is there for her, and some other ladies, but it makes me really sad.
Same picture that you guys are seeing of her?
I can't speak a ton of it on her. I wasn't around her a lot, but I'm not here to tell a story. Every time I was around her, she was very sweet. She was very, open to talk to whoever was around. She struck me as a sweet girl. She did. But I didn't live in the home with her. And so, Jamie has said multiple times that you don't know the real Sarah. He didn't go into detail because, to be honest, when he would tell my mom that, she would be like, "Oh, Jamie, you've never raised a teenage girl before," and you're not supposed to think anything more of that. But he said multiple times, she's not the sweet Sarah that you guys see. She's not who she puts online. You don't know the real her.
That is interesting. So that is from your Uncle James. Wow.
Yeah.
About his stepdaughter. Tell me about your uncle. You shared a voice message with us from your Uncle James. It was really sweet. We shared it in our backstory.
Right.
Tell us a little bit about who he was and how you want to remember him too.
Yeah, I guess when you hear that I'm the niece, you think, oh, everybody has an uncle. They are not close in age. They're not that close. But that wasn't the case, because he and my mom have an age gap. So we grew up in the same house together. My mom and dad were divorced. We lived with her mom, and so did Jamie, because he was a kid. And so we grew up in the same house together. And, we eventually, moved out of that house. He got married. He had kids. But after he was divorced and everything, we were in a point in our lives where we were both, didn't know what we were going to do. And so we got a house together. We lived together as adults, and so we were very close. We always stayed very close.
A really good guy, right?
Right.
I agree. I think he might be a really good guy, but doesn't mean Sarah did this. Eliza's saying, I don't know if she's guilty either, but I do know the way they went about. Yes. It's not the way to do fact finding. No, it's not. You need to go in with no preconceived notions and no ideas in your mind, or you're just gonna confirm your beliefs. You need to suspect everybody.
A lot of people have a past. Your uncle had a bit of one that people have shown online and tried to, I would say, paint him in a picture that maybe isn't completely perfect. Mm-hmm. But no victim is perfect. I want to point out there's no perfect victim. No. But he was wonderful. He was loving. He was good.
And I'm sure so was the mom. I don't see them talking about the mom. What about her?
So
McEyebrows.
You were his roommate.
Yeah. Yep.
You would know better than anyone.
And about the past, like you said, everybody has a past. It's not every day that your posts from Facebook get brought up for the world to see from 5 years ago, 8 years ago. It doesn't matter. That's not a normal thing that happens. Everyone has fights on the internet or, whatever. But, as far as the case goes, that has nothing to do with the case as far as we're concerned, because we're confident that the investigators have looked at every avenue. They know their past. They know they know everything. We weren't trying to not say anything. If we could help, we wanted to help. If this could help find who did it, we wanted everything to be explored.
Yeah, absolutely. But you mentioned your mother suspecting, everybody's suspecting Sarah. Did you also suspect her despite wanting them to search, every lead they had? Did you suspect?
I did,
Sarah?
yeah. And we all did, but we weren't stuck on it. We wanted to make sure that everything got looked at. If it wasn't her, if it was her, it doesn't matter.
And was that more because of the circumstances, as you point out, the house layout, how there's no way she couldn't have heard something? Was that why? Or were you also thinking, wait a minute, I've heard there's more to Sarah Grace?
At first, yeah, the gunshots, super weird. But yeah, it goes back to Jamie saying that about her, but members of her own family said it after the murder, and that says a lot to me, because, if I was in that situation, I don't think any of my family members would have said that about me. So if you're going out on a limb to say that about your close family member, I think that speaks volumes.
Take us back to February 20th, if that's okay. When all of a sudden you learned the news. Where were you, and what was happening on your end?
A normal day. I was at home. So my mom got the news first. Her husband is in law enforcement, so he actually came home to give her the news. And then he called me to tell me that, I needed to come there and what had happened, which at the time we didn't know. It wasn't immediately told to us that they were killed.
And so how did you finally find out then?
It was several hours later that they actually gave us what had happened. We just knew that they were both deceased. So, that gave us hours to wonder what in the world happened, How is it both of them? But the kids are okay.
So were you in touch with Sarah during all of?
Yeah, I think this family's got some serious problems going on. I feel bad. I feel bad.
This or no, just not, because I know you didn't know her that well. Did you hear what? Nothing.
No.
And it also really concerns me that there's not been any filings in this case, like from the defense attorney to. I think they did just get the discovery list recently, but I'm really surprised that they're not trying to throw out the. Roxanne, stop licking. I'm surprised they're not trying to throw out that interview, since it was done partially without the presence of her dad. And I just feel bad too, because is her dad even in the right headspace to consent for her to give an interview? I don't know.
We made sure to ask that they were okay and that they had somewhere to go and everything, but no, we didn't talk to her at that time.
That must have been heart-wrenching to hear about your uncle.
Yeah. Yes.
So, hang on. Did she just say that? Hang on.
Hear what? Nothing.
No. We made sure to ask that they were killed.
And so how did you finally find out then?
It was several hours later that they actually gave us what had happened. We just knew that they were both deceased. So, that gave us hours to wonder what in the world happened, How is it both of them? But the kids are okay.
So were you in touch?
How is it both of them but the kids are okay? What if it's drug related? You ever think about that? If you owe somebody money for drugs, usually they don't come in and kill your fucking kids too. Usually it's just you.
With Sarah during all of this or no, just not? Because I know you didn't know her that well.
She said, were you in touch with Sarah through all this?
Did you hear what? Nothing.
No. We made sure to ask that they were okay and that they had somewhere to go and everything, but no, we didn't talk to her at that time.
That must have been heart-wrenching to hear.
So she doesn't even reach out to make sure she's okay. She said she learned she was okay, but that she never gave a fuck about her. They were posting shit on Facebook about they hated the mom to begin with, and of course whenever she died they're gonna hate her daughter. Yeah, this case pulled me in because it sounded so much like Delphi. It's like the mountain of evidence, and then I just haven't seen it yet, and I think she is if she did have anything to do with it, it's because she's a co-conspirator, not, not because she was the mastermind. Roxanne, quit licking.
Here, how about your
My dog likes to lick her paws.
uncle?
Yeah. Yes.
Do you feel since the arrest?
And as soon as I see some evidence, I'll be able to sleep at night. But until then, which I'm gonna sleep at night, but as soon as I see some evidence, I'll be able to let this go. But I just haven't seen any.
That perhaps they will see justice?
I think so. I think a lot of people are saying that it took so long and they just had to make a move, the investigators, to make an arrest. And I don't see that at all. I think that I think it's a good thing that they took so long, because to me, if you are going to have 4 warrants, 2 for murder, and have a judge sign off on that to arrest someone, I feel like that's pretty solid. They did their due diligence in getting the evidence that they needed.
Absolutely. You mentioned too that you're speaking out now, not just for yourself, but your whole side of your family, for Jamie,
Right.
side of the family. Why are you choosing to do this now? Can you share your why this was so important to you, your mother, and the side of the family for you to finally speak out?
I mean, it's like this anytime, but when something like this happens, everyone speculates. And when you only hear, from one person or from one side, that it gives fuel to the fire. So after the arrest, we were told by members of Sarah's family to not post, to not do interviews.
Did you see her stupid little...
It's like this anytime, but when something like this happens, everyone speculates. And when you only hear, from one person or from one side, that it gives fuel to the fire. So after the arrest, we were told by members of Sarah's family to not post, to not do interviews. We were asked to take down anything that we had put up about Sarah being arrested.
Well, yeah, because you're
we didn't take
poisoning
anything
the
down,
damn jury pool.
We had no intentions of doing an interview. If they're not going to do it, we won't do it. It is still an open investigation. We can only say so much anyway. We can't give everybody on the internet that is asking questions the answers. We just can't. But
you don't know the answers. You don't have the answers. You're speculating.
Her family was doing interviews. Then I think that every side needs to be told.
I completely agree with that. Every side does need to be told. Absolutely. So do you think that was to maybe keep you guys quiet a little bit? And so you're saying it's time for us?
Every side needs to be told in the court of law, not on fucking YouTube, on fucking Lauren Mathias.
Yeah, sure, our side. What's going on?
I don't know what the motive is. The only real motive is it's public. It's in the interview that her grandfather did, that he's hoping that someone steps up to be her lawyer. And that's his right to do whatever he wants to, but that doesn't mean that we need to stay quiet.
While they were looking for the killer of Kristen and James, your mom was out there actively posting, requesting help, getting the word out, right? Because that's what you have to.
And she was also telling Sarah Grace Patrick to post. She was telling her to talk about it and everything.
When tragedy hits, when true crime hits your family unexpectedly, nobody ever expects to be victims of true crime, right? It happens. Your mom was a very active participant in getting information out there and asking for help and begging for help. And one thing that people pointed out while Sarah Grace was very active on TikTok crying, was she joining with your mom at all to try to say, yeah, like, let's look for answers? Like, was this a united effort?
So they were in contact. Like I said, she talked to her all the time. But as far as, my mom probably posted every single day. She was absolutely relentless. And never once did Sarah just repost her TikTok. Just something so simple, just push share. She never did that.
She was posting her own TikTok. She
was active in the comments. She made her own TikToks, but never anything that was straightforward saying, help me find who did this. And what strikes me is,
so her reaching out to true crime content creators, begging them to cover the case, wasn't asking for help.
Weird is she didn't seem afraid either, because in that situation, I may not have posted because I would be afraid that someone came into my house and killed my parents while I was asleep, apparently. But that didn't seem to be the case.
Yeah. Sarah's story, has it remained the same?
No, absolutely not. We have heard the story, and I'm not just speaking for me, my mom, her family, and perfect strangers on the internet have heard her story 1,000 different ways.
What's changed?
Yeah, what's changed?
Anything and everything.
Anything and everything. That must be right in the Walmart, right next to the section of the mountain of evidence.
If
Anything
she
and
could
everything.
change it, she did. She went from not hearing certain stuff to hearing certain stuff. What she did immediately after, what they were doing before they went to bed. I mean, it's like she didn't practice, maybe, what to say.
Oh, she should have practiced. Oh, why didn't I think of that? Why didn't I think of that? She should have practiced what she was saying. I know. I feel like I'm too negative too, but this lady, it's all red flags, and it's really the whole family. The whole family. I've begged for just give me some reasons. Just give me a few reasons, and I'll just move on with my life. I won't tell nobody. Just tell me what it is. Tell me why you think she did it. And there's nothing. I mean, they say words, but there's nothing.
So okay, so yeah, pretending she didn't hear anything and then saying no, I did hear the shots and the monitor.
Yeah.
Yet still letting Jaylee wake up and go find them. I can't get over that. That's like one thing I can't get over.
Oh, she can't get over it.
I know.
What?
Just like people can't get over how, those of us that think Richard Allen's innocent, they can't get over that we're advocating for a child killer.
What do you think the motive is then? People are wondering, why do this?
Yeah, what's the motive?
Honestly, I have a theory I can't share, but, regardless of what it is, if it's what most people think it is, I'll say that. Anybody that's ever been a teenager, you've gotten mad at your parents before. You have not liked what they said. You thought that they were the worst person ever. You were mad. Whatever. But what you didn't do was kill them.
Yeah. One thing that's been talked about with Sarah is possible mental illness, because again, we see her on TikTok day in and day out crying over the loss of her mother and stepfather. And so for those of us watching this from afar, we're going to wonder.
Oh yeah, you want to speculate about mental illness, crying on TikTok. Okay, Miss 9 Hour Live, about being stalked.
About mental illness or what is happening, what this is. It's so shocking to see these TikToks and then find out that she's arrested for this crime. But I have a question, because Dennis, someone that has done interviews saying that he believes his granddaughter is innocent, said she has no mental illness. Can you help us understand what is true and what isn't? Is there mental illness that Sarah Grace was dealing with?
So this is a popular opinion on the internet. As far as I know, no, she doesn't. And her grandfather just went on the public record to say that, no, she absolutely did not. So we have to tend to agree with that. I mean, he said that they were very close. I mean, he would know.
Yeah, he did say that. Yeah, he did. So
what the fuck do they think is so funny? Like, who the fuck?
Oh, okay. So no mental illness, crying on TikTok, giving a eulogy. I mean, she's really well spoken. What about, the boyfriends or ex-boyfriends? There's been speculation online, a lot of it. So I have to ask about an ex-boyfriend and a possible older man. Was she dating someone at the time, or what was the situation there?
So the boy that's going around online that got arrested, to my best knowledge, has absolutely nothing to do with it. This was her ex-boyfriend. They had long since been broken up. At the time of the murder, she had another boyfriend that, I don't know exactly how long they had been together, but they had been together long enough that Jamie and Kristen knew him. He had been to church with them, and he was at the funeral.
He was at the funeral while she gave the eulogy?
He sure was.
Wow. Anything else you can tell us about this man?
I cannot speak on him. It is still an investigation that's ongoing, so I don't want to speak on him.
Okay. But you'll speak on her. And y'all were speaking on her before she was even arrested. Y'all were posting TikToks, and if anybody commented in the TikToks like that they thought she did it, they would like that comment and stuff.
I respect that. We'll move on. I understand. And I respect the investigation and respect your boundaries during this interview. And moving forward, again, if there's something you don't want to answer, please just tell me while I ask away. Another question I have is this yard sale. There's been talk of a yard sale online after the murders that they were selling all of the belongings in the house. Can you help us understand what this yard sale was and what actually happened? Because there are a lot of rumors.
So
Yeah, there's a lot of rumors, just tons of rumors in the street about this yard sale.
the investigation went on for quite a while. They pretty much gutted the inside of the house. They were not kidding when they said that they did not leave any stone unturned.
I know, I can't.
My mom was laughing because I don't know exactly what happened, but Jamie had done some deal where he bought, like, I'm not kidding, 500 tires. And so he had them all stacked up nice and neat in the backyard. They looked inside every single one of those tires. So it was a mess. So it was really do your best to come and find anything that you want. So, you know, Jamie has 3 older sons. They all came to find something of their dad's. They all had something in mind, and they had to look forever. My mom went to look. She had something in mind that she was looking for, and Sarah was there to get what she wanted. And while everybody was looking, just for example, my mom was looking for the one thing she wanted was a hoodie of Jamie's that she had sent him that had ramen noodles on it. Just something so silly, but that's what she wanted. That's the sentimental thing that she wanted. And his oldest son, Tristan, I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was like a can or something, like a monster can or something. It was just, what they were looking for was absolutely just, you wouldn't know unless you were them, you know? And
Sentimental to them.
Yeah, 500 tires in the backyard. Like, okay, that sounds like a real fucking. Look at her face. Yeah, it sounds like a real homey place that you'd want to live. You know, like there's some guy living in the backyard, and yeah, 500 tires, and you don't buy 500 tires. Somebody pays you to take 500 tires.
Exactly. And they found it weird that what Sarah was looking for was an unopened comforter. My mom found a really, like I said, it was really hard to find stuff. So
An unopened comforter because she needed a blanket to sleep on.
my mom is digging. They're literally digging through trash. I mean, there's trash bags full of stuff that's their stuff and trash bags, you know, because they wanted to figure this out. They went through everything. So my mom's, you know, knee deep in trash.
They wanted to figure this out, but it still took them 4 months to arrest Sarah.
And she finds this shirt of Kristen's.
With a mountain of evidence.
She tells Sarah that, you know, look at this. This was your mom's. Like, this is so cute. And Sarah says that it's her mom's favorite shirt. And my mom said, oh my gosh, you need to take this. You need to make it into one of those teddy bears or one of those pillows, you know? And she says, no, you can have it.
Wow, that's telling. But she wanted the.
Oh, it's telling that she wanted Kim to have it. Okay. It's telling, like, these people aren't even fucking listening to the words they're saying they're just reacting. Wow, that's telling. She could have said literally anything and she would have said that fucking reaction. It's like, listen to what people are saying to you.
An open comforter.
Right. There's another story just like that. My mom's best
another story just like that.
friend went with her to the house. I wasn't there.
Her mom's best friend is Kelly with the IE.
Mom brought her best friend with her to help her, and there was a piece of artwork on the wall that I'm guessing Sarah made, but I'm not going to say that for sure. It was a kid's artwork. And so my mom's best friend told her you need to take this. And she was just like, oh, okay. You know, I've been in that situation. So I'm not speculating. Like, you know, my dad passed and I brought home the weirdest stuff with me from his house, you know, just stuff that he had wrote on. And, you know, so the unopened comforter doesn't totally sit right with me, but, you know.
And look at her fucking smirk. Fucking Lauren smirk. Yeah. Yeah, it's real fucking suspicious.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. Was Sarah protective of Jaylee? Like after the murders and before her arrest, was she concerned about her little sister?
I won't say that she was or she wasn't. I'm not very sure. I know that she saw her.
You don't know
here and there.
Fucking,
you know, she saw her at the funeral and she saw her at her graduation.
Nothing.
That was recently, but I really don't know.
Because you don't know. Because you don't know.
Do you know
them,
how?
Either of them.
And if you can't talk about it, it's okay. But do you know how little Jaylee is doing? You know, we're all so concerned for her well-being.
We're all so concerned.
I mean, she's 5. She's happy most of the time, but it's not a secret to most people, I'm sure, that she is traumatized. She is, you know, nobody should have to see that. you
Well,
know,
yeah.
and she talks about it here and there, but you know, we don't we answer questions. You know, she wants to talk about her daddy, you know, and about her mom. She does that, and she's comfortable doing that now, but you know, she is traumatized from it, you know, and we do get to see her and my youngest son are besties, you know, and she loves her Aunt Kim, my mom, so you know, she's happy, but not something she should have seen. And
Absolutely.
she
Yeah.
was
So sad.
Thank you,
incredibly
Captain
close
Obvious.
to her parents. Like, I mean, she was with them all the time. She was the baby, you know. They're Jamie's three of his kids were grown, you know, married kids, you know, everything. And then he has this little girl, his baby, and you know, she loved her mom. She did. I am not taking anything away from Kristen because she absolutely loved her mommy, but she was a daddy's girl. I mean, they were so close, and my mom would keep her overnight. She'd
Notice, like, that's the only time she's even mentioned Kristen's name this whole fucking time. And it's kind of confusing because they're both named Kristen. This is Kristen with a Y, and Kristen with an I is the mom that, you know, died.
want to go stay with Aunt Kim and, you know, play with my son. My son would go over there. And as soon as she would wake up in the morning, she would call her daddy without even telling my mom, be like, Daddy, I'm ready to see you now. And my mom would be like, Jamie, you don't have to come and get her. She can stay. I know you're busy. You know, he had doctor's appointments and all kind of stuff that he was always going to. And he'd be like, nope, if my baby wants to see her daddy, I'm coming to get her. So they were tight. They were very tight.
Oh, my heart goes out to her. It's just so sad. I think the thing that we can't get over, I mean, it's the thing I can't get over either, is just the crying TikToks, the eulogy. And they were real tears. We see real tears, you know, coming. No, not real tears.
I think there was the interview with Dennis, the investigator, or maybe she's not an investigator, but she was the one that did the press conference, and she was in this interview day before yesterday, whenever
That's
it was.
That was the state's attorney.
And she said that it was a red flag to her, the eulogy, but that she wasn't there, so she didn't know if she was really crying or not. She didn't see it.
Okay.
But I did. I was front row at this funeral where I watched her do this with my own two eyes, and not a single tear was shed. And this isn't something that I thought about afterwards. This isn't something that I've gone back to the video and looked for. I was thinking it at the time. I was thinking, what is this voice that she is?
And she just had confirmation bias ever since then. And since she was thinking it at that time, she's just, every thought she's had since then has just affirmed that.
Doing that sounds like crying, but a tear is never shed. And you can see on the video, she doesn't wipe a tear. She does not have a tissue. She does not shed a tear. Her eyes are not red. It's not speculation that she was not crying. She absolutely was not crying.
Okay. So what were your thoughts then? Your front row watching this eulogy. What's going through your mind?
Not one single thought.
It was one of the weirdest things that I have ever witnessed. You know, my mom spoke at the funeral. Jamie's oldest son spoke at the funeral. One of their good friends spoke at the funeral. There was tears everywhere. Everybody couldn't get through their speech, you know, needed someone. My mom needed her friend up there with her just to get it through it. And I think it's weird that Sarah, after losing her mom, got up there in her dress and did this big long speech. And
that's another thing. They slut shamed her for wearing a short dress at the eulogy.
Didn't ever shed a tear. Didn't ever stop to gather herself. I think it was very weird.
So were you suspicious at that moment?
You know, we had all kind of, you know, talked about it here and there, you know, after the murders. The funeral wasn't right away. So, you know, we had talked and everything, but at the funeral, that was kind of a big, like, wow. And then after the funerals, you know,
they probably fucking left that funeral and just went and kikied and fucking were talking shit and speculating and everything else. And then they just fucking spiraled from there.
They were together. Their funerals were together. And so then afterwards, there was going to be like a lunch for everybody to eat and everything. And when she came around to start saying that she was sorry to people, I had brought my best friend with me that was close with Jamie, and we left. We didn't even say bye to anybody because I was like, I cannot allow her to say that to me. I just watched her do it to my mom, and I'm not going to allow her to do that to me.
You're not going to allow her to tell you sorry.
Since the arrest, have you gone back and revisited some of the TikToks and the eulogy, like since she's been charged with these murders? Or do you avoid that?
You know, if it comes up, you know, I might, but I don't really need to. I was watching them in real time. I mean, I saw it in real time.
She knows everything. You can't tell her nothing. She doesn't even need to go rewatch it. She knows it all, front to back, left to right.
She was not shy about what she posted, and she was not shy about talking to my mom and my mom's best friend, who were both relentless in posting and trying to find who did this. She had no problem talking. She had no problem. Anything that she said in those TikToks, I assure you that she was blabbering to everybody that would listen.
It was a red flag to you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And again, not reposting your mother's efforts, not really asking for much help, just sort of seeking, would you say, sympathy? That's what I see.
Well, yeah, exactly. All I said is I can't think of a reason Sarah would have felt comfortable being vulnerable around these assholes. But that's just me. Yeah, and especially they hated her mom. Whenever I went back through Kim's Facebook, she didn't like the mom at all. Yeah, Brenda's BS says, no kidding, I know nothing about this. But yeah.
Of course, I don't know what she was thinking, but to me, it was, I mean, it's weird either way, whatever it was, sympathy, trying to make people look elsewhere because she's a sad person that lost her mom. And she absolutely, she lost her mom. She deserves to be sad. But the weird TikToks just kept getting more weird. So, I mean, what are you
Have you seen the fucking TikToks your mom posts? Like, no offense, this lady's sad, like she lost her brother. But let's not fucking judge one another.
Supposed to? It's very, I don't know what to say about it.
I don't know what to say about it either. So why don't you just shut your fucking mouth?
What she was trying to do.
Investigators say there's a mountain of evidence, and we haven't seen it all. The public hasn't seen all the evidence. I won't ask you if you know more, but do you know about more evidence than the public
I won't
knows?
ask you if you know more, but do you know more?
Some, yes. But I would
not
doubt for a second that they have mountains of evidence, because I know of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of correspondence between my mom and the investigators, and that's just my mom, given.
And Kim just said the other night on her TikTok, and I swear to God, she said that she did not talk to investigators.
Information leads to follow.
She said maybe I texted or maybe I messaged them once or twice, but I have not.
Things to look at. That doesn't even account for all the people that did reply to my mom while she was posting and looking, that would say, hey, I know this, should I tell the investigators? Absolutely, because we don't know what it is. We don't know what little thing could help them. So 5 months seems like a long time, but the amount of stuff that I'm sure that they have doesn't even, they really worked hard on the case. And I know that they were working every single day, because they would tell my mom and they would update my mom.
I know you mentioned that you have your own motive, but you don't want to talk about it. Understandably, respectfully, I get that. Can you share whether or not you think there might be another arrest made?
I can say that it wouldn't surprise me.
Okay, that's fair. What else did you want to say? I want to make sure your voice is heard. I know, like I said, you're not just speaking for yourself, but for the whole.
I just think it's funny how she's throwing Sarah out there, but if you think there's another arrest that needs to be made, what is it?
Whole side of your family for James and Kristen, but you are related to James. What else do you feel like it's important to share?
Just because I am speaking for Jamie's family, we, are absolutely devastated that, about Kristen too. This isn't, one or the other. Jaylee is our family, and she lost.
Yeah, and nobody will acknowledge the drug aspect. Nobody. And they will, not only will they not acknowledge it, they will try to get you shut down if you do acknowledge it. They will call you out and call you out by name and start making TikToks about you and shit.
Both of her parents, not just Jamie. She lost both of her parents, Kristen has another child that's not Sarah. He lost his mom. Jamie has 4 other kids, 3 grown, 1 not, and Jaylee. So all of them, they lost their dad. And I think that people need to be really cautious about what they say, because you don't know. And digging up stuff from some of this stuff I'm not even sure where people get it from. I'm like, yeah, I knew them, I talk to them all the time, I'm friends with them on social media, like, where in the world did you even get this? But they have children watching, grown children. Jamie has grandchildren. This is stuff that they're going to see, and it may turn out that none of that's true. So why put that out to be out there forever? And Jaylee already is going to have it hard enough. This is forever for her. She is this child that this happened to, and so the other stuff really is not necessary until we know more. And I'm confident that there's a lot more to know.
Yeah, I think there's a lot more to know too.
Yeah, it must be heartbreaking to see family members talk so probably just common, just hearing us discuss your family and your loved ones on
Right.
YouTube and on social media. And you're right, this will last forever for them.
And it's kind of important for us to, say something publicly, because we can't put out every fire. His kids are saying stuff to people. Don't say this about my dad. My mom's saying, don't say this about my brother. But there's, 1,000 fires and only a few of us. So, if you can put all the fires out at once, maybe, just say like, this, I guess some of the things that I've said have, cleared up some of the answers, maybe,
No.
especially the
No.
big one that I keep seeing is the mental health. Something had to have been, she had to have been in all of these mental hospitals and medicine and stuff. And, her grandfather came out publicly and said no. And
No.
that's her grandfather. So
He would know.
he's
Yeah.
obviously going to know more than I do. So we'll take his word for it. We would tend to agree that that's the case.
If he knows more than you do, then she's not guilty.
We never heard any different. Jamie did say, what I said he said about her, about you don't know her. Never anything about any kind of mental illness or anything.
As Hidden True Crime dug into who James was in his life so we could allow our listeners to get to know him better, one thing was very clear, that he overcame a lot in his life, and he was a fighter, and he was resilient, and he was working really hard, and he was a good dad. Is there anything else you'd like us to know about your Uncle James?
And this goes for him and Kristen both. They never met a stranger. They were talkers. They were jokers. My mom we were just saying the other night, I was over at her house, that, they would come and get Jaylee or something, and Kristen would just be talking. And then they would go to leave, and she'd start talking again, and Jamie would be behind her like, oh God, we're never going to go home, And so, I want to make it clear that she, I didn't see them as much as my mom, but they were super.
So there is no evidence. After this is over, I'm gonna log in and look at the case net real fast and go over something that Sarah said earlier. She said go to Heidi. She said go over the. Hang on, I'll ask Heidi whenever she calls, but I want to go over that. And yeah, all the evidence is circumstantial vibes and innuendo for sure. There's a gunshot residue test, but I've heard there's not been any gunshot residue found, and there's never a gun that's been found. And so far they've just said, quote, a mountain of evidence, and they've said it's digital evidence. So
super close to my mom, both of them.
And she did have a boyfriend, but
Them.
we don't know anything about it.
And so, their lives pretty much revolved around all of these kids. Everybody keeps saying, oh my God, they had so many kids. They did, but that's what it revolved around. 3 of them lived there. The other ones were always around. His 12-year-old is actually at my mom's house right now. So, all of these kids were very loved and taken care of,
I can't imagine what they're going through. And thank you for reminding us that there are so many children whose lives have been affected by this. Is there anything else you want to say today on behalf of?
And this is just another example of her, like, reaching out to people to get these fucking interviews. And for what? Just to kiss fucking ass of the state?
Your family. And if you want to look at your notes, you can. But, I want you to feel heard today.
I think we covered it all. I think that's it. Unless
Okay.
you have something.
No, I think
All right, so I'm gonna give Heidi a call, and we'll call her, and that way we can hear and see, because she talked to Sarah earlier. While I pull up the document.
Hello, lady.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going. How are you? Happy Halloween.
Yeah. So I am live, obviously, like I told you over text, and I was gonna look up her case stuff online. What did she say to look at earlier?
The search warrants,
Okay.
if those are even public.
Yeah, I'm gonna see. Anyway, did she say anything? Do you have any updates that you can give to the crowd and share, or anything? Anything you want to share?
She's just trying to be as positive as she can be. I mean, it's really hard. Like, I was just discussing it over dinner with a girlfriend of mine who is in criminal justice, and she looked at those, the Discovery too, and she thinks the same thing. The firearms, she's like, how is that bullets? I said, I don't know. It doesn't. None of it makes any sense to me. They drained the pond and everything, and was searching all the way up into June. That documentation says February. Those firearms were tested in February. So, I don't know. And she can't say much on the phone,
Yeah.
So,
the warrant is here. Hang on.
okay.
Affidavit for arrest. I wish I could see it, because it's crooked.
While you're reading it, she does want people to know, the ones that are supporting her, that she loves them very much. Thank you. And for the particular ones that are so adamant about being against her, she understands, and she prays for them. She has nothing negative to say. She's a good kid, man. She really is a good kid.
Yeah. And I was saying earlier on my stream, like, she doesn't have a lot of people there for her,
She does not. She does not. And I will tell you, Sarah Grace has had a very, very hard life. Very hard life. And for the people that, want to speculate and say something about her stepdad, she had a very hard life way before Jamie. So, yeah.
Yeah. So this affidavit for arrest says, a person commits the offense of murder when in the commission of a felony he causes the death of another human being by irrespective of malice, to wit, with Sarah Grace Patrick committed the said offense during the act of aggravated assault against Kristen Brock resulting in her death. I'm going to read it again. Maybe I might get something from it. A person commits the offense of murder when in the commission of a felony. He causes the death of another human being irrespective of malice. So does that mean it could have been an accident? Irrespective of malice. So there could have been a felony happening. Well, that's kind of what Laurel said. Remember?
Yeah, I really believe that the investigators are just as baffled as we are. Granted, they got a lot more information and they got to see things hands-on, right up front and center. First of all, I'm not saying anything negative about these investigators. I don't know them. I'm not God, and I was not there, so I don't know. but I think that they're just as baffled as we all are. And I think that the investigators think like us, there's got to be somebody else. Well, first of all, she's 16. She can't purchase a gun. She's not a magician. She can't. Okay, let's just say, we all know that Kristen and Jamie was in the drug world. And they had all kinds of people in and out, living on the property. Let's say they had a firearm that they weren't supposed to have. Because they both were, they both had records. And you're not allowed to have firearms when you have serious records. So they're not supposed to have firearms in the house. But let's just say they did. And that's the gun she used. Where'd it go?
Yeah.
Where'd it go?
Yeah.
Is Sarah covering for somebody because she's scared? And then you've got the other side of the family talk and make videos. And, she's still scared, but she's doing it because this side of the family is telling her to do it.
And then, so the other version of this, there's four affidavits for arrest on there. Two of them say the same thing, but with different names. And then two of them say different things. So this one says, a person she'd be charged with one or the other, A person commits the offense of aggravated assault when he or she assaults with the intent to commit murder, rape, or rob with a deadly weapon when used offensively, does result in the serious bodily injury to which Sarah Grace Patrick did commit the said offense when she assaulted James Brock with a deadly weapon, handgun, striking him multiple times.
So somebody beat him.
I think by striking it means like firing.
Maybe, because I was told by people who saw the audio. And in an autopsy, they are completely naked.
And what did you say? You cut out for a second.
The autopsies, they're completely naked in an autopsy, both of them.
Yeah.
There was no bruising. There was no signs of. So I don't know.
I don't know either.
I just know this was a 8-year-old child, and I need to reiterate to the audience, to anybody who is a parent, anybody who has lived through abuse. Y'all say we all grieve differently. We all handle abuse differently too. And, our minds, we are nobody to judge when somebody snaps, or how they snap, or when they snap, or how much it took them to snap, or how little we don't know.
Yeah.
But what I do know is that young lady lived a very, very rough life. People can try to dress it up, and it's usually people that try to dress those things up than people that really weren't there.
Yeah.
They want to make excuses. And no, Sarah really did have a hard life. Sarah really did get put in situations that she never should have been put in. No child should be put in.
So I'm going to read off this, the Discovery audit log that was just posted. We got gunshot residue from 314. Gunshot residue from 314. So that was right after the crime. From 4-8, we got gunshot residue. From 5-1, it's an item, and I don't know what that is. And then 311, there's an item. And then gunshot residue, 317, a blood exam, 319. I'm guessing blood exam, that would be blood spatter. There's DNA typing. There's James Brock's autopsy. There's more DNA typing. There's a firearm lab report from 226, a firearm lab report from 228, another firearm from 228, and an investigator note.
So the boyfriend has a bunch of guns. They went to the parents' house, allegedly. I have to say that. Went to the parents' house, went through all the guns. They found 3mm. Tested those 3mm. They did not come back as a match, allegedly.
So that's probably what these are.
But I don't know why that would be in the discovery. If it wasn't a match, then why put it in the discovery? Why would the prosecution?
Because
put that
they
in
have to
there?
give over all the evidence, no matter if it's
Oh, okay.
good or bad.
Got you. Good to know.
Yeah. And if there would have been, if all this DNA and shit would have been a match, that would have been in the news, you know, like we would know about it. I wonder why they don't have they don't have the autopsy of the mom on here. Just
right. It's another weird situation that was a red flag to me. But again, the prosecution is giving bits and pieces.
Yeah, it might still be coming.
Discovery.
Yeah.
You know, they still don't have it all, and I just don't understand. You know, a kick-ass lawyer would be on that, like a defense attorney, like, excuse me, where's the rest of the discovery? This is a 17-year-old child. She's sitting here, you know, under the assumption of murder, double homicide. You're dilly-dallying around with the defense or the discovery.
Yeah, and it's just crazy with how fast this trial's, like, the first hearing's going to be in 17 days, and then they're going to have another hearing in December, and then trial January, 5th?
Yeah, and tomorrow is November 1st.
Yeah.
And they don't have all the discovery? Come on. And this is a 17-year-old girl, and there's no gun? Come on.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not knocking the prosecution, but I might be knocking the defense. Because we're watching, and we all know this is a 17-year-old girl, and it's pretty, you know, it's pretty obvious nobody's there to help. You know, the family's not going to get her a lawyer. So, all Sarah's got is this public defender, so.
Literally, she didn't have any money on her books today. She was messaging Heidi, a girl on the internet. You know, and it's just sad. It's fucking sad. Like, and she wasn't asking you for money. She wasn't asking her for money. You have
to put money on your phone for her to call you. She's got money on the books, but you have money on your phone. Okay. For anybody to call you from jail.
Okay.
But it's so crazy, modern technology today, for the old heads that are listening to this. You know, you used to get a collect call. It's not like that anymore. I got a text message on my phone that Sarah was trying to contact me.
Yeah, see.
Like, what the hell?
Yeah, that's what I misinterpreted.
Yeah, modern technology, man.
So, All Eyes, are we allowed, like, are random people just allowed to call her lawyers? Because All Eyes in the chat said Sarah's lawyers need a phone call to ask what the hell. Are we allowed to call and just be like... Because nobody else is, like, this girl has nobody. Nobody. She has nobody. Like...
She does. Katie is really, you know...
I know, but I'm saying, like...
Right, but that's it. And Katie's not even... Katie met her right after the murders. And has just, like, become, like, a mother figure to her. Because it's obvious there's... This kid really is going through this alone. She really fucking is.
All I said, we can call the lawyers. Maybe I'll call the lawyers tomorrow. Well, no, not tomorrow, Saturday, but maybe I'll call the lawyers. Maybe I'll email the lawyers first.
And I think it's illegal for us to try and get a GoFundMe for any kind of legal services.
Yeah, yeah, she's got, I mean, they're public defenders. They are what they are. But we can at least let them know that somebody cares, you know?
Yeah.
And not just like cares about seeing her be burned at the stake, cares about the fact that she might be innocent, you know?
Yeah. And if she's not innocent, somebody's threatening her, or a mental snap. But if it was, listen, if it was a mental snap, a mental break, whatever you
How
wanna
would
call
she have
that,
gotten a gun?
Right.
And
But even if there was still a gun, let's say she's been in jail now since June 6th. This is a 17-year-old girl that's never been in trouble before in her life. She would have broke. I mean, don't you think?
I think she would have broken the way that she would have told on her boyfriend.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But if it was her alone, I don't know if she would have broke, because she would be a lot stronger than we're giving her credit for, you know?
True, yeah.
But who knows? I don't know. All Eyes in the chat is saying they need to know people are concerned for this girl. And she said, always be polite but very clear. You're following the case, concerned about the red flags, and asking what kind of help they need to defend their client. Maybe, yeah, I think I'll do that.
I mean, I think it's, they got to know that it's obvious to everybody that nobody's helping this girl.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if it is obvious, though, because there's, like, been people come out and talk in her defense, but it's like, those, I don't know. I don't know.
Words. All I hear is words.
Yes,
I don't see no action.
yes.
And if it was so good in rainbows and butterflies, then why is she out where she's at?
Yeah.
Why was she at where she was in January when her parents were killed? Why was she there? The longer this goes on and the more yapping I see, and you see through it.
All Eyes is saying, are her attorneys asking for tips as well? Like looking for experts? I
Don't think so.
I don't think so. They have not filed one single motion. They have not filed one single thing. It's all been they've just been getting all this discovery. They took a fucking leave of absence, and that's it.
Yeah, and that leave of absence they took, they just left Sarah there, speaking to her, no contact, no idea what she was.
You're cutting out.
When they took that leave of absence,
Uh-huh.
That whole time they did that, Sarah didn't know what was going on. Nobody was contacting her. Nobody, just left her there, not talking to her. I just don't understand, why is she not allowed to have visits? Is it because they think that she knows who did this?
She's not allowed to have visits from anybody? She's not allowed to have visits?
Just her lawyer, that's it.
That doesn't seem right. Can you believe they post the grand jury list on here for everybody to see? It's crazy.
You?
No, they did.
Who did?
The court post the grand jury list.
Oh, yeah. Well, this is Georgia you're talking about. No offense, but there's a lot of high-profile crimes in Georgia, though. Atlanta's a hot goddamn mess. And you would think, with all the you got fucking, excuse my language, you got that one kid that, the boyfriend before this one that Sarah was with, he was 17 years old and got arrested for possession of methamphetamines.
Oh yeah, the one that posted all those pictures of guns everywhere.
Yes, assault rifles. Like, what is going on in your county that you got kids?
Is she in
methamphetamines?
Is she in segregation, Sarah?
She's in isolation. She is allowed out 1 hour a day. She is completely alone. She is
But the good thing is she's on a speedy trial track, and she'll be, if she didn't do this, she'll be out soon.
Is that on purpose, knowing that she didn't have any family or financial support to get her an attorney? Let's just get this over with and get her shipped off. Like, you know, I don't know.
I don't know either.
And, you know, some people may think that we're crazy, like the way that you're so driven by Richard Allen, which I saw some really good news articles on that too. God, he still has a lot of support too. But, you know, when you see a person like Sarah who doesn't get in trouble, you know, this is a good kid. This is a kind girl. And not one person can say anything bad about her. And I'm going to tell you right now, Sarah was shipped around. She was moved to this place, to that place, to this place as she was growing up. Because just the fucking parents just, we're going to stay here, we're going to stay there, and dragging the kids with them.
Yeah.
None of them have anything bad to say about Sarah. All of them say that she lived a very hard life, and she endured things that a child her age should never have. But they still do not see Sarah doing this. She's kind, she's soft-spoken, she's loving, caring. They've never seen her angry. Let me tell you something. I'm not going to mention names, but Emily, you know who I'm talking about. Sarah's got some real bad haters out there. They hate us. They hate me and you.
Yeah.
They attacked me and you.
Yeah.
Do you know that she brought that up today? And do you know what she said? I was like, you know what, Sarah? I can't stand them. I just want to blah, blah, blah. Sarah said, they're sick. They'll get better. I have faith. Just let it go. I understand. Pray for them. What? Yeah. Yeah, and these people
I love you
want
always.
her hung.
Yeah. Yeah.
This isn't a murderer. She's not. This is not somebody that would murder her mother. And something else that the public needs to be aware of. Her parents really did smoke pot with her. Her parents really did let her have a very free life. Her parents did not tell her she could not go to her boyfriend's that night. Her parents did not tell her that her boyfriend couldn't come to her house that night. It's all a lie. That's all a lie. Jamie and Kristen let Sarah do what she wanted for a long time. Sarah lived like an adult from the time she was 6 years old.
And she was 17. I mean, she was just counting down the days, you know? Or almost
Yes.
17. All right, well, thank you guys for joining my live. I appreciate you going over that with me. Tomorrow night, me and Shabugs are going to go live and talk about Richard Allen and go over, have a pig roast and go over Holman's interview. So join us. Make sure you're in the chat and, yeah, subscribe and like and all that fun stuff. I really appreciate all eyes being here. And Brenda's BS. So I will see.
Happy Halloween, everybody.
Yes, happy Halloween, and I'll see you guys later. Have a good night. Thanks.